Summative, I decided to study the decline of DVD and Blu-ray sales since the early 2000s and what was primarily affecting this, or primarily causing this decline. So I predicted that the rise of use in online streaming devices such as Netflix and Roku would have a big impact on the decline of DVDs. And to answer my question on why this decline was happening, I first looked at DVD and Blu-ray sales as well as the stock value at Blockbuster and for DVD hardware. So that includes DVD players or DVD cleaners, anything that has to do with DVDs basically. And there was a clear trend with all four of these statistics that they were all declining. So when I converted them into four graphs, I discovered that the sales of DVDs and Blu-rays were actually very much left skewed, but because of the data given from the stock values, I could predict that they would eventually start declining again and become man-shaped. Hidden variables that can be found in this data were Blockbuster shutting down in 2011, so this is why the data for Blockbuster just stopped completely, or it actually went to 0.01, and that's because they sold stuff online for a little bit and then they completely stopped selling stuff. And then also when Blu-ray first came out, obviously it wasn't as popular when it first came out, so in 2006 and 2007 the numbers were really low for it, but those numbers started to mount when it gained popularity and then quickly decreased, and we will learn why in a moment. So now that I had confirmed that these sales were in fact declining, I looked at what was causing this decline. So immediately I thought of my family, and we use Netflix a lot. I use Netflix a lot. And so I decided to look at the number of subscribers that Netflix has, along with the price of the Netflix accounts and how it's gone up or down over the years, and then different streaming sites and the ratings that these streaming sites had. So I found that Netflix was actually number one for the streaming sites. Well, there were actually two that were tied. It was Netflix and Roku, but I just use Netflix because I'm more familiar with it. So I use Netflix kind of as a basis to say that if the Netflix numbers are increasing, I can infer that most of the other streaming sites' numbers will be increasing as well. So what I found with both the prices and the number of subscriptions to Netflix is that they were both rapidly increasing. So from 2011 to 2015, the price for a monthly subscription stayed the same at $7.99. Then in 2017 to 2018, it increased to $8.99, and then in 2019 it increased to $9.99, and then it's predicted by 2020 that the price will be at $11.99, which is pretty pricey. So it should be noted that near the time of Netflix gaining popularity, so that was around 2008, 2009, is the same time that DVD sales started to decrease drastically. And so it is inferred that because of the increased popularity of Netflix and other online streaming devices, that this is why DVD sales have been going out of business more and more. So from extrapolating the data in my graph 7, which was the number of Netflix subscribers, it is inferred that by 2020 Netflix will have around, I'm just going to say this number by number because I'm not very good with big numbers, but 357,605.9 subscribers. And then by 2020, by extrapolating again, by 2020, the value of DVDs will decrease to 1.32%. So that's the stock value. Not looking too hot for DVD sales in the future. So what impacts does this have on our society and why this is a social justice issue is that it's not only affecting big businesses like Blockbuster, which unfortunately Blockbuster going out of business put a lot of people out of jobs, but it also affects small family-run businesses. And I have like a personal connection to this because a good family friend of mine used to own a DVD store, and then all of a sudden, when Netflix and other streaming sites started gaining popularity, they actually had to go out of business because they weren't getting enough money. And then, so it's affecting big and small corporations. Netflix and other streaming sites are kind of like a win-win, as in families who can't really afford to rent movies or buy movies for every night of the weekend, all they have to spend is this small sum of money, but then these small family-run businesses aren't getting an income. And then these big businesses, big corporations that are going out of business, lots of people are losing jobs, so it's kind of hard to find the silver lining on both sides. And then some outside effects of how this is also affecting our society is that the two main reasons that people are turning to online streaming are either for financial, which we've already covered, or for convenience. And it seems that in today's society, people are more likely to take the easy route in nearly everything they can. So this means that instead of walking 3 blocks to the nearest DVD store, they'd rather just walk to their basement and turn on the TV and start streaming from Netflix. So it's kind of like promoting laziness and bad habits like that. And since it is so easy to just walk to your basement and turn on the TV, it's actually much more likely that young children will be exposed to things like violent and sexual contact in media, because it's much easier for them to go and watch Netflix without their parents' permission, and so they're a lot more likely to be exposed to this. So, in conclusion, there is a clear trend between the number of DVDs being sold and the number of Netflix accounts, which also translates to streaming, the number of streaming accounts throughout all streaming sites. When Netflix increases, DVD sales decrease, and any other sales related to it will also decrease. This is not only causing a large problem with corporations, but also small businesses. And it's getting easier and easier to access movies and TVs, and this poses a big problem with the laziness in today's society, as well as an early exposure to violence and sexuality to young children. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.